Hello and welcome. You should be on page 5 of your pre-algebra quarter 3 notebook. In this video, we're going to talk about angle relationships. So let's start with an angle. Here I have an angle. I've got two rays that meet at a common point. And this common point is called the vertex. Right there. Now I can name my angles. In this case, I've got some letters, so I'm going to name this angle PQR. Now note, I'm going alphabetically. And the really key element of this is this middle letter represents the vertex. So a lot of times when you just see angle names, you can easily identify the vertex by looking for that middle letter. So we can also name angles with just numbers and sometimes just one letters. So I could have an angle 1, I'd name it like that, or I could have an angle B. So this is angle 1 and this is angle B. Alrighty, so we're going to talk about angle relationships, and we've got relationships, so we're going to assume we have more than one angle. Our first type of relationship is going to be vertical angles. And vertical angles are special because they have a common vertex. So remember, that vertex is the point where the two rays meet. It's the endpoint of an angle. And what that looks like, if I were to draw two lines here and have them intersect, and I'm going to use numbers. I'm going to call this angle 1, 2, 3, and 4. And my vertical angles have common vertices or vertex. So angle 1, you can see, has the same vertex as angle 3. And angle 4 has the same vertex. These two rays have the same vertex as angle 2. So angles 1 and 3 and angles 2 and 4 are vertical angles. And what is special about vertical angles is that they are congruent. And if you don't remember that definition, congruent means same size and shape. So in this case, it's definitely an angle, same shape, and the size is going to be what degrees it is. So if angle 1 were to equal 15 degrees, angle 3 would be 15 degrees. And if angle 2 were 135 degrees, angle 4 would be 135 degrees. Now, one clever way I saw of remembering vertical angles is just to draw a picture. This is a little bit of a different angled intersecting lines. And I'm going to make this top part my V for vertical. And then I'm going to give this bottom part a line for angles. Vertical angles might help you in the future, remember. Adjacent angles are two angles that have a common side. So not so much a common vertex, but a common side. So I'm going to draw first two rays like this. And here's that vertex, but I'm going to have another ray coming up from the center. And you can see that this here, if this were angle 1 and this were angle 2, they both have this common side. So angles 1 and angle 2 are adjacent angles. Now, another way of saying adjacent is next to. And adjacent angles are, it's like they're neighbors. One way to remember adjacent is it uses the letter J, which, you don't see so often in a ton of words, right? And another word that goes with J is join. And adjacent angles are joined together. Alrighty, let's go on to complementary angles. Two angles are complementary if their measure adds to 90 degrees. And you might remember that 90 degrees is a right angle. So what does that look like? Well, I can draw a perfect right angle, and I'll use that box to really clearly indicate it's a right angle. Now I'm going to have another ray coming out here, and angle 1 and angle 2 are complementary angles. Angle 1 and angle 2 are complementary angles because angle 1 plus angle 2 would equal 90 degrees. Now, oddly enough, they're also adjacent angles because they share this side, but they are complementary. So there are a few ways that I found that you could maybe use to remember this. One thing is we can use this idea, this is complementary or a complement. There's a homophone for complement, which is to complete something. It is always, oops, let me rewrite this. It is always right 90 degrees to complement. Now, of course, I used an I here because a compliment, when I say something nice about someone, uses the I. But we can use that play on the homophones to remember. Another way I saw, which I thought was rather clever, is if I write the word complementary, I could draw a line, and now I've got 90 degrees. See how that kind of makes a 90 degrees? Next up are supplementary angles. Supplementary angles are two angles are supplementary if their measures add to 180 degrees. So let's draw a straight line because believe it or not, a straight line is 180 degrees total. I draw a ray coming out, and now I've got 1 and 2, and angles 1 and angle 2 are supplementary. And they are supplementary because angle 1 plus angle 2 equals 180 degrees. A clever way I found to remember this is supplementary straight line. And that is what I had for that. Maybe you have another way you could share with me. All right, let's take a look at how we can apply these concepts. So we're going to use the definitions and go through these examples. Angles A and B are complementary, and angle A is 25 degrees. What is the measure of angle B? So that's the question I want to know. Angle B equals question mark. Well, one way with geometry in particular is I like to draw a picture. So draw a picture. Well, complementary, I know, are going to form a right angle. So if I draw a nice picture of a right angle, and I'm going to have angle A here, and I know that equals 25 degrees. Here's angle B, right? How much does that equal? Well, because they're complementary, angle A plus angle B equals 90 degrees. Well, I know angle A equals 25 degrees. So I'm going to substitute this in and create a nice equation for me to solve. So 25 plus angle B will equal 90. Let's do some stay and go. This is going to go as negative 25. Angle B will stay, and 90 will stay. So negative 25 plus 90 is, so that is 65. So angle B equals 65 because negative 25 plus 90 is 65 degrees. So that is my answer. Let's look at this next one. Angles C and angle D are vertical angles, and angle C is 15 degrees. What is the measure of angle D? So angle D equals what? Well, remember, vertical angles, I can make my VA here, VA, and let's say this is angle D, and this is angle C, and I know that equals 15 degrees. Well, what is the measure of angle D? Well, vertical angles are congruent, and congruent is same size and same shape, so angle D equals 15 degrees too, if they are vertical angles. My final example and the last question in this video is this. Angles E and F are supplementary. So that means they add to 180 degrees. Angle F is 17 degrees. What is the measure of angle E? So angle E equals question mark. So supplementary is a straight line. I know that my angle F is going to be 17 degrees, and I'm looking for angle E. Well, let's set up an equation. So I know together angle E plus angle F will equal 180. I know that angle F equals 17 degrees. So I'm going to substitute the 17 in for that, make myself an equation. I've got angle E plus 17 equals 180. If I stay and go, angle E will stay, 17 will go as a negative, and 180 will stay. And now I'm going to, on my calculator, find out that if I subtract 17 from 180, or negative 17 plus 180, angle E equals 163 degrees. So my answer here is 163 degrees. And that's all for this video. Thanks so much.